Well, hello.
Dun dun dun.
Exactly. Hit mute there. Sorry. Hopefully, all right. So we got at least one person watching, Jeremy. So a little impromptu stream. You in the chat today. You were like, "Hey, we haven't done a stream in a long time, and we do have Adepticon coming up next week. Maybe we should stream and chat about that." So I was like,
"Yeah, it's always exciting. Always exciting right before Adepticon, right? You're trying to get the last minute stuff done. You're getting excited for all the new friends you'll meet, old friends you'll see again. So
speaking of old friends, Mr. Mark
welcome. Who I owe Mr. Zielinski a beer, as in he was the icing on the cake of sending me the last Dungeon Saga models that I need for my Twilightkin conversion. So thank you, Mr. Zielinski, and we will be hanging out. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. We do have some. Looks like we have Paul Collins and Richard Hall on the Facebook, and we have Mark on YouTube. So that's cool. Got a few people. Yeah. It's a good question. Is Adepticon the name of the new Marvels? It can't be any worse. I've watched some really bad ones lately. Yeah, I've watched some really bad Marvel movies lately. I was like, oh man,
it's not a high bar lately.
But here's the thing: talking about pop culture, TV, and whatnot.
Sure.
Have you watched the new Shogun show?
Oh, dude, it's so good.
FX?
It's so good. It is so good. Yeah,
it was amazing.
As a history show, as a visual show, the costumes, the sets. I'm a big fan of the Stranger in a Strange Land, that archetype of story. So Shogun is like right up my alley. But yeah, you've been liking it too, Rob?
Oh man. Well, I sat down to watch one episode, and then boom, all 4 that were out so far have been consumed, and I'm just chomping at the bit till Monday, the 18th, when we get another episode to drop, because it is really good.
You know what? I've been on the Star Wars binge lately, so I am finally almost finished with the Clone Wars. I never watched it back in the day.
Oh wow!
I've been watching it for a first time, so I'm now in the final season, which was the one that had a few years break, and then they did the final season. And the
awesome.
art is like, it's really good. So I've been enjoying that, and then I will watch Rebels. I never watched Rebels, so I'm catching.
Oh my gosh, you're so far behind.
Yeah, I know. I'm catching some of the Filoni-verse that I've missed just through the years. So
that's unbelievable.
That's what I've been watching lately. Just getting
Bad Batch is also very good. If you like the animated Star Wars stuff, right? It's pretty awesome. Well, let's jump in. We got a long list of things we wanted to tackle tonight.
Yeah, definitely.
So welcome everybody that's joined us. Kind of just order of business tonight. We're going to kind of get you just caught up. We haven't done this in a while. We have been, I don't know about Jeremy, if you feel this way, but podcast has been on rails lately. It's just been bang, 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 bang.
We've had a lot of good stuff come out.
Yeah, and so we haven't had the opportunity to really catch up, right? And Adepticon was, I had Lucy Brawl and then Adepticon, and it just all so kind of wanted to, this is going to be one of those, hey, let's just talk about what's going on. Yeah. So let's start with the first one on the list here, which is the 2023 Mantic Army Challenge. It's over. It's done and dusted. Apologies it took so long to get all the winners sorted out, but the reality is it took a really long time to figure out some of those things. And obviously I had a lot of painting to do for 2 events. But huge congratulations to Donnie Croce, who won the best army vote. Scott Sally for being an insane person. I mean, I made a comment in the video that wrapped this up that I think I hit 80 points or something, or 180 points, and I hadn't even counted all the stuff yet. And I was like, I'm done, dude. At some point you have enough halflings, right?
Yeah, you've done it. You've won.
You've won. Then the best army was a vote, right? The largest army was we had a rubric, like if you paint a horde with full model count, you get X amount of points. So Scott won that handily by like 50 points over second place. And then we just took everybody out, everybody, and put them in a raffle. You'll see it on the video, but I laughed my butt off because as it was spinning, I'm thinking, I'm gonna have to ship this table to Australia. That's what I was thinking in my head. But
that was the
I
nightmare.
yeah, I was like, oh, how am I gonna do this? And then it popped up Chase Thompson, who, he's like 7 or 8 hours for me, but
Oh, that's not bad.
probably won't have to ship it. I mean, we'll be able to interact at an event soon.
Maybe
So
like or meet halfway or some sort of some way to get it to each other.
absolutely. But just a quick one on that. We will have conversations with all three of the winners. We're gonna ask them the questions about like, hey, why are you insane? In the case
Yeah.
of Scott, right? Like, what are you?
Yeah.
You're such a nutter. What are you doing? So
Mhm.
more to come on that. Next on the list, let's just briefly mention the 2024 Mantic Army Challenge. We are doing it, as I mentioned in the video. We're treading some of this year. We're having a couple month gap between the end of the 2023 and the start of the 2024, which means we're going to start May 1st. We have not decided on how it's going, what it's going to look like, what format it's going to take. But I will say the one thing for sure, Jeremy, it's not going to look like it did last year.
Yeah, we don't want to do, last year was all about getting your Mantic armies on the table, right? And which is a similar this year, right? Just getting that juicy quantity of stuff. So I think this year, Rob, maybe we'll focus a couple ideas or maybe doing one wrapped around a centerpiece. Like instead of working on a huge army, all challenge, you pick one or two things and really try to, everyone pushes each other to try to have that one really special piece. But we have a
Yeah.
couple ideas probably post Adepticon, going into when we start it. We'll have a lot more
Mhm.
details for you guys. Uh, very much so. I
I, I,
think it's,
I think I think the message I would give is, we're really going to look for quality over quantity this time,
yeah,
right? It's a
exactly.
different, it's a
However that
different,
manifests, that's what
yeah,
we're
and
going to,
I think it might attract some different people too, right?
yeah.
Um, so next on this list is the podcast. So you will have heard Wednesday we released a great episode with Kenny Law. We talked a lot about um, absolutely. And to be fair, that's some of the criticism that, not criticism, but some of the commentary about the 2023 Mantic Army Challenge. I think some people were like, yeah, I can't, I don't have time to commit to paint 2,300 points. And I get that. So maybe this will be an opportunity. Like, let's just say, hypothetically, if we have, okay, May, we're going to paint a monster. June, we're going to paint a troop or, whatever that is. And maybe it's a little bit of a slower pace where people can breathe and they can spend a little bit more time without feeling like they're having to, it's not a
Mhm.
race, right?
Yeah, and it'd still be adding stuff to your Mantic army, right? So still within the spirit of the challenge, but instead it would be like, let's add this one new thing or, really try to push the envelope. So yeah, more to come on that.
And this is our, this is a good segue here, but this is our very good friend, Matt Carmack. So we're wishing him the
Mhm.
best. Obviously, I think everybody's heard by now he had an accident. And so we're all really hoping, praying for the best. He does have a GoFundMe. I'm not entirely sure, Jeremy, if it's already closed, but if you haven't, head over to Fanatics. Patrick
Yeah, I
Zorro
think it's
Allen
posted
posted.
there. Yeah, I think
It
Pat
is,
had it up.
and it's
Yeah,
probably on Counter Charge too, right? It's everywhere.
yeah.
All I'll say right now is we're also working on something.
Yes, and I
So
don't know if Matt. I don't think Matt knows that. So
no, Matt doesn't know. Yeah,
he's
Matt
hearing
doesn't
it.
know.
Matt, you have help from all corners of the galaxy. Boop, boop,
Right.
boop, 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 boop.
Yeah, yeah.
The
So
SOS has come.
yeah, and I'll just ruin the surprise. We've gotten a few people like Dan Kamek and Billy Smith, and I'm going to offer up the table. So there's going to be kind of an auction thing. I don't know how that's going to work. I'm not good at that kind of stuff. I may have to have Matt or Jeremy do it, but more to come. So, more to come on that.
Yeah, but
But
it
yeah,
shows
we
you our
really just
community, right? Which is, I think it's a horrible thing that's happened to Matt, and we all love you, but it shows there's a lot of people who are, we look after each other. That's one thing, Kings of War and Countercharge, one of our spirit totem animals is we watch, the Huggy Bear, we watch after each other. So
Mhm.
it's nice
No,
to see
Donnie
that.
has a great idea for the 2024 challenge, which is, maybe you have a prize for best unit, best monster. And I like this comment the best from him. Even though I don't know anybody really wants to have a model of me in their army, but I don't even want a
Oh,
model of
yeah.
me in my army. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you, Jeremy. I would like to have an army, I love, yeah.
I'm still trying to work on I want to get, I don't know if you remember from the firefight. I want to get a model that looks like Kyle Timberlake is the dwarf,
Oh,
the Forge Father on the top of my command tank of going like this. And so I've been looking on Fiverr or like some of those artisan type places trying to find someone to sculpt me. My Kyle Timberlake Forge Father tank
absolutely.
driver.
Absolutely. And this comment's from Dev Slavin, who is running the Armada event this year at Adepticon. Dev's a great guy out of central, it's not Fort Wayne, but I think maybe Muncie, but central Indiana. So Dev's an awesome guy, but just mentions that the theme model per month is what Tales of Instahammer does for their GW
Oh,
push.
yeah, that's
So
a cool
that,
idea.
lots of great
Yeah.
ideas. And you know what?
Yeah.
If you have ideas, please throw them on our Facebook page, right? Or here.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
If
happy.
you have an idea. Yeah.
All right. So podcast. It, it's an unfortunate. It's a good thing and a bad thing. Like there's so much good content that like some of the stuff feels like it's. I'll give you an example, Jeremy. I think we recorded that episode with Luke Fraser and Luke Fraser. Sorry, I always say Fraser. Like Fraser goes down in the ninth, though. But and Keith
Crazier.
Conroy, yeah, like maybe a month ago or 6 weeks ago. And
Yeah.
it's just been there's so much stuff. There was no place to put it. I didn't want to like.
Well,
just
people are
dump.
going to have a little. We're now going to Adepticon, right? So there's going to be a little lull, while we're gone.
Well,
And
there's
then,
not. It's all
oh,
scheduled.
okay. Well, then
So
never
there's
mind. We're
every
good.
Wednesday.
Usually
Yeah,
there's a lull.
there's
right?
episodes. Yeah, there's episodes. But you're
Nice.
right. I think people need to brace for impact because they know. Well, if they don't know by now, Adepticon usually is a dearth of quality content.
Yeah, we get a lot of shows out of those 3 days.
So next week is going to be an episode on the Blue Sea Brawl, and you haven't heard this one yet, Jeremy, but I am super pumped about it. It's really cool.
Nice.
I love it. It was Dan Kamek, my partner for the event, said, "Hey, let's get together like in December." What you're going to hear is like we are talking before the event, like as we're building the army. Then we're talking with our opponents at the event, and then there's a post-mortem. So like it's like
nice.
like
That's
a
cool.
vlog.
Yeah, I like it.
So it's like a
like
vlog.
it.
Like this is our expectations going into the event. Here's what happened to
Yeah.
us during the event, and you hear from different people like Devlin, the tournament organizers there, and some of our opponents.
Yeah.
And then we do a wrap up. So I really think it's cool. It's like a tournament arc, from
That's
beginning
nice.
to end. We will be chatting with this Sunday. We chat with Alex Chavez, the Grand Poobah for the U.S. Master in Washington on Labor Day weekend in 2024. That'll go up pretty soon as well.
Nice.
Sometime during Adepticon, it'll post. We have another episode in the can that'll go up, I guess, 2 weeks from yesterday or the day before, Wednesday, 2 weeks from last Wednesday, about Army lore. And we spend, a little time with Chase Thompson, just chatting about, creating your Army story.
Cool.
And it's pretty fun. I cover in pretty good detail the Kingdoms of Halfmen, the background that goes with that. But Chase also has a really great story about his Rhodia list. So really cool about that.
And that's so fun, right? When you create your own army's fluff, right? That's just such a great way to feel connected to a project.
Yeah, Mark, don't worry. There'll be stuff for you to listen to. Yeah, your little tiny car ride from Ohio will be fine.
I know. Wow, I gotta drive like an hour.
I gotta go 5 hours. So
yeah,
I'm leaving on Wednesday with my store owner Mike, and it's like an 11-hour drive or 10.5 hour drive. You know what, Jeremy? I made this declaration to my wife, and I'll make it publicly now. I'm too old for this shit. Honestly, like you know what? I need a chauffeur. I'm just like I'm ready just to like.
We're so close. You need the self-driving car, right? You just need to get in the car, have a little TV, put on some, G.I. Joe or whatever, and then some Toy Federation YouTube, and just be on your
Toy Federation. What a great YouTube channel!
Oh, dude, so good. I've been watching that all day.
I'm a fan.
I'm thinking of you, my friend, watching Toy Federation.
Yeah. Well, Pixel Dan is another one that I really like.
Okay, I'll have to check
Kyle
him out.
Peterson, which is another guy that does. He does a lot of wrestling stuff, which I'm not into, but he's also a G.I. Joe fan. Secret Galaxy. There's some great stuff on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube,
but back to the podcast, we have Army reviews in the hopper that are coming down the pipe. So you will have seen Matt's post about Northern Alliance. That we were targeting March, but just there's so much content, it may slip into early April. It's likely to slip into early April. And then you are tackling the ogres. and the plan is
in the
late
panel,
April to have.
I'm getting the team together as we speak. So
Yeah, and then Ratkin, I'm doing it. I'm doing Ratkin. I'm doing it in May, and I have one commitment so far, and that's Sean Troy. So I'm really pumped because
none
he
too
is a
shabby.
great player.
Yeah.
Never been on the podcast before, but other than Adam Ballard, I haven't been beat like that before. Like he beat me bad. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on a second. Leave it to Kyle Poole for his Facebook image to be the super like high anime cutesy couple. So way to go. That's hilarious.
And this is my buddy Kyle Ritchie from Midland. Is that right? That's Midland. I hope I remember that right. But he's part of Blake Schroed's posse. They're running the big game. Yeah, agreed. I was really pumped. I reached out to a few people that I know are really good Ratkin players, and Sean Troy popped in and said, "Yeah, man, this sounds fun." I was like, "Oh, thank goodness," because I want a good mix. I want it doesn't. They don't all have to be highly competitive players. It's good to have some of the maybe mid-table, the more narrative player voices as well. But it is still good to have some competency, right? Like, it adds some legitimacy to things. So Ratkin in May. I mean, I'll speculate maybe Orcs. That's kind of maybe June. But let's just see how Northern Alliance, Ogres, and Ratkin we get through those. For those who don't know, you guys did a poll. Gosh, when did they do that? Like November of last year?
It's been a bit, right? October? Yeah, I think it's been a bit.
And we've been slowly grinding through it. Like we've done like 4 or 5 off the poll, and we're literally going in order of votes. So we're working our way down. So technically, I think Orcs would be up after that. So let's see what else I got on the list here. We have an episode with Matthew Temple, about repairing tournament damage. It's timely because as I'm getting my army out for Adepticon, I'm like,
you're like, ooh.
Well, I mean, I'm just packing it up and I'm breaking resin models like left, right, and center. I'm like, golly, man. Yeah. Agreed. I need somebody like at the mid table, that punches above their weight every 6 years.
Yeah.
And most of the time hangs around in the countercharger area. So we have the episode with Matthew Temple, and then your Firefight Primer, Army Primer episode was a huge hit. Like they loved it. So we're going to do the same thing.
We were really happy people like that. Yeah.
And so we're starting to bat around ideas what that's going to look like. Whether it's like 5-minute one shots on each army, whether it's good or evil
one long
episodes,
or
one long show. What voices are we going to have? Yeah. So, and then Jeremy, maybe touch on. Maybe touch on episode 700.
Yeah, so we're working on episode 700. We're going to be recording it soon. Very much, it's going to be one of our bigger episodes coming out post Adepticon. We're going to be having all the former hosts of Countercharge return. So all through the years, Papa Mark will be there. Too Cool for School, Steve Hildrew, Alex, the whole gang. Andy trying to get all the original people all together we want to have a symposium, very much in the spirit of Inside the List Builder Studio sort of discussion around where do we think Kings is in the greater hobby world. What of our kind of talk a little bit about, you've heard this narrative of why do we play Kings, and that will some of it come in there. But I think that would be a really interesting sort of, after 7 years of the show, Kings is no longer the brand new game on the block, right, Rob? It's now been around. So where do we sort of feel like that's in the milieu of the hobby, while also talking about what we love about Kings and maybe some favorite memories of.
Well, just keep in mind, we're almost 9 years into since second edition launched. Yeah,
exactly.
Or 2010, we're almost 14 years since the idea of Kings of War came into existence. So been around a long time, and
it's very much grown
change over that time.
It's its own thing now. It no longer isn't just like a backup for this or a replacement for that. It's its own. There's people who have been playing Kings for years, and it's their first game, right? So I think it would be really interesting in the spirit of sort of the conversation that we just had with Kenny that people really liked, thinking about, where we are and where's the game and how do we envision the sort of by episode 1400, I thought that might be fun to look at, episode 1400, where we talk about like that old bit from the Conan O'Brien, the year 2000. What will we be
Right.
doing in episode 1400? Will
Yeah.
Rob have his self-driving car by then?
Yeah. One thing I did want to mention that we mentioned on the podcast with Kenny Law. There's a podcast that more people need to listen to, and it is it's the tabletop. I'm looking at the name, Tabletop Miniature Hobby Podcast. The website's Bedroom Battlefields, and if you're not listening to it, do yourself a service and give it a try. I love the show. It's got great audio quality. It's awesome. It's a fun
Cool.
podcast.
I don't have
And,
this one on my
so-
list, so I'll add it.
You should check it out. It really focuses a lot on the smaller companies,
Okay.
the more indie stuff. I mean, yeah, they
Mhm.
talk about Mantic from time to time, like Armada, or Kings of War,
Yeah.
but like, the Frostgraves of the world, right? The things that
Gotcha.
are, not necessarily omnipresent in our gaming community. So huge fan of that podcast.
Cool.
Let's see what he said. Man, leave it to Kyle to have like this huge dissertation.
Mhm.
So how to merge Dead Zone and Firefight Warpath in a narrative way. I don't know. That seems like a lot of work. Jeremy might be up for it though.
Well, we used to already have those where you have like Warpath. It would actually be pretty cool because you could do a Dead Zone skirmish into a firefight game that
Right.
culminates in an epic Warpath game. We're gonna circle back to that, Kyle.
Put a pin in it.
Once Epic Warpath is out, because I would want to do all 3 game systems and have it be a 3-game event where you play Dead Zone, Firefight, Epic War, and the Dead Zone results lead into the scenario for Firefight, which then leads into the scenario, depending on who's doing what, who's winning, leads into the Epic Firefight scenario. That would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to ruminate on that.
100%. Well, let's get into Adepticon. We need to touch on the schedule. I think we alluded to it during the episode with Kenny, but maybe you haven't listened to it. Just kind of want to walk through the schedule and Jeremy specifically what we're doing. So
yeah,
I'm arriving Wednesday. It'll probably be
Wednesday.
late afternoon, early evening because it's 11 or 12 hours. So what about you, Jeremy?
Yeah,
Wednesday as well?
Jeff Swan and I are getting in around 2 or 3-ish, so mid afternoon, and then we're renting a car and then heading to our hotel.
Okay. Yeah, and just a shout out. I will try to post on Facebook when I arrive. If anybody is in the Kings of War area and wants to come down and help us unload, it is moving like a little army of all the podcast gears and the stuff. So we can certainly use the help. We typically unload right, Jeremy. You have the escalator, the doors that go right into the escalator and up to the second floor where we're on the end on the left, right?
The hotel lobby. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's actually down from the hotel lobby. It's
in that middle spot where the guy has all the miniatures or the bits
correct.
Guy,
right
hallway.
there. Okay. When you walk in those glass doors, it's right. You go right past where they have registration. Right?
Yes, and then
you go right onto the escalator and up. You go down the hallway on the second floor, and we're in that last room on the left.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, I gotcha.
So Wednesday, there's nothing going on other than just getting the podcast gear set up and just meeting and greeting people and chatting. And then
if there's a short line, get your badge.
Yes.
Check in if you can.
Absolutely. And for me, Thursday, I have an early morning call. I have a class called Chasing Smooth Lens. I'm really trying to up my game.
Yeah.
I think I'm a decent painter, but when you play with Dan Kamek, you better up your game, bro. Like literally, like my stuff looked like garbage compared to. I mean, he's using oil paints and just it's
he's a high level painter, right?
Correct,
that's
correct.
A great person.
But what I told him is like, hey man, we only had a couple months to do this. Let's get more time and let me get my A game. And because I have the ability to do it, I'm just slow.
Yeah.
Right. So it's gonna take me a year to do it. So I've got a class called Chasing Smooth Lens, and then I think that goes from like 8:30 to 10:30, and then I think the doubles event starts on Thursday at 11 o'clock. Is it 11 to 8?
Oh, it's 11. Okay,
maybe I don't remember.
Look. Yeah, I need to look at my schedule again.
Yeah, but that's all we got. Do you have anything else on Thursday, or is that it?
I have nothing else. Nothing else. Just the team tournament. I want to try to give myself time to, hang out, play other games, go check out the vendor hall. I'll probably try to do that on Thursday or Friday. And no, well, this year, not Draxia, Mark, but I am bringing some Star Wars Unlimited, which is a new Star Wars card game that I'm obsessed with. That I know Rob is a big Star Wars guy,
Oh yeah, I
so
like Star Wars.
I'm bringing a bunch of decks for this game. It is so much fun.
I will,
So
but Mark, I will have Legends of Draxia. So
yeah.
to be fair, it's funny because it's come full circle because Jeff Swan, who you're coming with, right?
Yeah,
Jeremy is the one
we
who
played
got
it
us
that
hooked on
first
it.
year, right, when we
And I
got it.
just, ever since I got it, I was like, I had to buy a copy. And me and my
Uh-huh.
daughter are completely obsessed, like to the point where, it's on my iPad. It's just a great game. It's just, it's simple, right? And
Yeah.
it's fun. So,
Yeah, that is a great game.
yeah. So going back to the script here, so that was Thursday. Friday in the morning, basically it's kind of like in the morning I've got Armada, and in the evening you've got, or late after, like 3:00 to 11 or something, you've got Firefight, right?
Yeah, Friday night
And
Firefight.
and in between those two, I'm really excited. I've got a blending boot camp. Like I'm all about trying to blend better, right? But even more better, not good English, but even better, I'm
Even
excited
better.
to take an MMM class, because here's the thing.
Nice.
I don't paint non-metallic metal, but if I'm going to be dance partner, I better paint non-metallic metal, right? Because that's how that boy rolls. So I'm looking forward to that. And Friday night's always a fun hangout, right? We'll probably get some pizza. We'll hang out. We'll do some recording. And shout out to anybody that wants to record with us. It's hot mic type, hot mic time, right? Like whatever. If you just want to say hi, you want to just introduce yourself, talk about your community, we're game. I'm happy to, a lot of our Adepticon episodes are like just like clip shows kind of put together. Like some are like 15 minutes.
Yeah, just impromptu sit downs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, all right, we got Mark and Colin set up at least to play Star Wars Unlimited. Who makes that game, by the way? Is it Fantasy Flight?
Yeah, it's Fantasy Flight, which I know that makes some people grumble, but
is it a living card game?
No, it's a TCG. So it's like a Magic the Gathering or
okay. So you got to buy packs and you got to like
Flesh and Blood. Yeah, it's a CCG or whatever the kids call it.
CCG. You're right. Yeah, it's not whatever the one where you just buy like decks. That's not.
Yeah, no,
this.
not
you
that.
Gotta buy boosters.
Yeah.
You gotta chase the dragon, as they say.
Oh yeah, you gotta inject the heroin, the cardboard heroin.
Yeah. So Saturday and Sunday we have Adepticon Clash. And then we do want to make a point to note that there is going to be a Mantic hangout in the Kings of War area with Ronnie and probably Andy Burtis, I imagine, Saturday night. And I think they're also having, we need to ask the Dead Zone guys, Dead Zone the podcast guys, but I'm pretty sure they're going to have a like Dreadball in a night.
Oh yeah, they did mention that.
You know what I'm talking about?
Show. Yeah, that they were going to do some sort of something.
Dreadball League in a night, I guess is what it's called.
Yeah.
Those guys are nuts, dude. They're straight up nuts, dude. They're just. I mean, granted, they're from Michigan, so that already
means nothing to me. What is that? Are people from Michigan weird?
I mean, we are an acquired collect of people.
Okay,
right?
Okay, fair enough.
So no Colin, there's no Colin this year. That's disappointing.
The thespian, the actor can't come.
Yeah. Oh, and Dev is pointing out it's Fan Dreadball Ultimate Cup games Saturday night. So Ultimate Dreadball, I believe. No, that's Extreme, the one that has the multiple players. I don't know. It's been 5 years since I played Dreadball, but it's a fun game, very kinetic.
The FDUC, what was it? The FDUCGSN.
There you go. Yeah, you and your acronyms.
On the Ocho tonight. ESPN the Ocho.
All right, well, let's get to the meat of what we wanted to chat about tonight. I don't know about you, but the one thing when I know I'm going to Adepticon, I'm like, let me get my list out. Let's go through this vendor hall. What am I going to purchase? And then I've got to barter with my wife to make sure I have enough money to cover all the crap I need to bring home.
Basically, that is true.
Yeah, it's an expensive event, guys. For those that haven't been, I was looking at, I think my registration was like $400. So I was like,
Yeah, see, I went less crazy on the registration this year. Like usually I get like the hoodie and the sweatshirt and the cup and the this and the that. But this time I'm running lean, and I just got the ticket, so that would give me a little bit more room to get
right.
stuff in the vendor hall.
Well, let's do this. We'll add this here. So if you haven't seen it, they have a great website where they show all of the sponsors, right? All the people that are going to be there, and it's a long list, and all the people you would expect to be there are there. And I don't know about you, Jeremy. We kind of went through this list, and we kind of picked out some that we're really
Yeah,
excited
and
to
if you're
chat
going
about.
to Adepticon, it's stuff that we're interested, but also if you're like, where do I even start in the vendor room? This can maybe give you a couple of spots to check out first.
Well, and I can tell you right now, there's going to be some of these companies I've never heard of that I'm going to walk by their booth and go, "What's that? I
Yeah.
need that in my
Oh, there's
life."
always
Whatever
someone
it
new,
is,
right?
I don't
Yeah, there's
I
always
don't
the
know
new
I
thing.
don't know what I don't know yet, but
Yeah.
I'm going to be partaking. So, all right, well, let's jump in. We're going to share some of the ones that we wanted to highlight. We already talked about bedroom battlefields. So this is the first one.
Yep.
Game Envy will be back again. They currently have a Kickstarter. I have tried all the wet palettes in the world. This is the wet palette of my dreams.
I like it. It's my favorite too. I've done the make your own, the entry level Reaper from the game store. I mean, the army painter, the red grass. I've done the small red grass, the big red grass. And this is my favorite one too, based both on the ergonomic design. It has a top compartment for storing materials, an easy way to put your iPad or phone, but also the sponge it comes, which is nice. The paper, all the just all the little bits, Rob. Everything is just there is a place for everything, and everything has its place in this design.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, it's funny because I've used them all. I used to use the army painter one. I think I even had the privateer press one at one point, and then I went
Yeah,
like ultra cheap and went is it called Stay Wet, which is like a
yeah,
Masterson,
the
like
Masterson
generic
Stay
brand.
Wet off of
Yeah, but
Amazon. Yeah,
I'm having to cut my own parchment and stuff. No, man, come on, bro. So
yeah.
this one literally has every bell and whistle. Like it has bells and whistles that I didn't know I needed, but now that I've tried it, I'm like, of course. I mean, some of the big things are, like you said, you buy replacement packs, new sponge, right? And the paper's all pre-cut. And in fact, the Kickstarter, they're coming out with a new sponge, which is even better. It's like dual layer. I'm not going to explain it. You can go to their Kickstarter page and check it out. But the other thing I like about it's got storage in the top. They sell little copper antimicrobial corner weights. Like if you try other
Like
wet palettes,
washers.
the
They
paper,
kind of look like a washer almost.
yeah, like it's a little like L-shaped thing, right? Like because
Yeah.
it sits in the corner. But like the reality is, when your palette starts to dry out a little bit, the paper wants to curl. This prevents that, and obviously copper has antimicrobial properties. So this is just awesome. The currently, I mean, if you go to Adepticon, you'll be able to buy the main size or the regular size one. The Kickstarter is to bring out a smaller version and a larger version. I have no use for either of those, but they now have an insert that is a. I've never used a dry brush palette. How about you? Have you used a dry palette
No,
before?
but I know that's like I've never have, and but I know that's like the hip thing now. And over the
Yeah,
last
so
couple of
I'm gonna
years,
get one. Yeah,
yeah,
through this
I'm
Kickstarter.
curious to see. I may get one too because people swear by them. Beyond just like here's a useless thing for just another flashy toy. People really like them because they say your dry brush is less chalky
Mhm.
when you dry brush with a dry brush palette because paper
Right.
towels is sucking the moisture out of the dry brush, thus the paint becomes a little bit more chalky, so it's supposed to give you less chalky, or that's how I understand it to function.
Okay.
is
Well,
is the
you're speaking all good stuff to me.
That's, I think, the science behind it is why it's better than a paper towel.
Absolutely. Yeah, Matthew Temple just say the swag bag's always good. Yeah, they broke it up this year. They did it a little bit differently, right? So they used to be like VIG premium. I don't know. I think they just have one bag now. So I got the bag. I'm sure I'll add it to my pile of opportunity out in the garage. By the way, Jeremy,
Pile of
you're still playing
opportunity.
MCP, right? You're
I
still
am,
playing
yeah. Mhm.
MCP?
Yeah.
I've
Mhm.
got the tank from last year. I'll bring it.
Oh,
You
okay.
know the one with Red Skull, I
Yeah,
think.
the Hydra tank.
Yeah, I'll bring
It's
it.
like
You can have it because
yeah, okay.
it's
Yeah,
taking
I'll
up
use
room in
it.
my garage for no particular reason. Do you have the Hulk? And do you have Venom?
Is it the original Hulk? Because there was a couple different
Correct.
Hulks. Yeah, I
No,
have that one.
okay.
I don't have Venom, I don't think, though.
Okay, well, I'll
Double
bring
check.
Venom then too as well.
Okay.
Good. Clean out my garage. All right, so
Nice.
first up, we were going to chat about is obviously Exemplar Wet Palette. Go check it out. They have the palettes and stuff there. You can try it. It's cool. You're gonna like
Yeah,
it.
you're always gonna
I mean,
get a
this
great deal too. At
yeah, this
Adepticon,
right here. I don't know if they can see my mouse moving, but this is like this is the palette that I use. Well, right now I'm using it for dry brushing in the. You can't really see it, but maybe there's a better picture of it. Right here. So like in here, I'll put paints that and then pick up on my dry brush and then wipe it off on paper towel. And then here this is what I use for like washes and stuff, or if I'm painting terrain or something. So it's great. It's a really great palette. I love the fact you can take the palette out, you can add tools to it. You can use it to hold paintbrushes. You can hold your. As a general rule, I try not to watch stuff like videos while I'm painting because that's too distracting. I need something in the background I've seen 100 times.
Yeah.
Or a podcast. But yeah, that's the first one. Next up on the list is Reaper. They weren't there last year. I mean, I'm sure everybody knows by now that there was a death in the owner and a whole thing. So they were not able to attend last year, which meant I didn't get my annual
pick it and fill
inventory stock. Yeah. So I need to go through my paints and figure out which ones. I mean, to be fair though, I shout out to Sinclair Games, which is in the Indiana. They're amazing. They have a great selection of Reaper paints. If you buy 25 hours worth of stuff, they ship it free. Their prices are reasonable. So I've been buying a lot of Reaper paint from them. But that being said, this is awesome because they usually have a set, like they'll give you the case that holds, I don't know, I have 20 paints, 30 paints, and whatever it is, you pick. So it's like a custom set, right? You're getting a discount because you're buying a paint in bulk, but you're picking the colors. So yeah. I love it.
You build your own paint set, essentially.
But I will say it's important to say this thing, which is I'm starting to get sick of dropper tip clogs. I am getting tired of that. And we're going to talk about Monument Hobbies in a minute, but they don't have the same top. They don't have the same tip. And as a packaging engineer by trade,
that wets your whistle.
It hurts me. Yeah, it hurts me a little bit when I'm having to shove a needle into that thing. I'm like, oh, come on, guys, we can do better than this. But next up, we've got everybody's favorite Mantic, right? There's a lot to see about Mantic. I'm excited to meet Andy Burtis in person finally. I'm excited to see Ronnie. He wasn't there last year. And this is assuming this is Matt. It is, yeah. So Sinclair Games. Oh no! Troy said there were. That's a real bummer. Now you ruined my evening, Troy. Thanks.
Way to go, Troy.
Yeah. Okay, well that's a bummer. That's unfortunate because they really great store. Hopefully somebody else will pick up in that area and just keep it rolling. But yeah, so Kings of War, or I should say Mantic Games. I'm excited to see Community Pat. Haven't seen him since Michigan GT. Ronnie, it's been a year. They're going to have Halo there for demos. So I don't play Halo, but I played the original one. And so I'm excited to see, is it like Dead Zone with Spartans and potentially Covenant down the road? Like, I'm excited to learn more about the game and see if it's
really interesting to see which way they went with.
Yeah. And then, because I mean, I'll be honest with you, if it ends up just being Spartan on Spartan, I have no interest. Like, if I wanted to play a multiplayer map, I would just play Halo, right?
Yeah.
But if there's like some wargaming tactical thing, then like Dead Zone, I think I would be into that. Maybe we'll have new Trident Realm models there for us to look at. Fingers crossed. If you guys are listening,
they always have great deals too. Mantic always has a good show deals where you can get some. Yeah. I'm not sure what they'll do this year, but they usually always have a great.
They're crazy deals. And unfortunately, I bought Northern Alliance Armada Fleet big last year, and my intention was, okay, well, I'm going to have it for next year. It didn't happen. Guys, Kingdoms of Men are sailing this year. That's Kingdoms of Men are riding again or sailing again. So it's unfortunate. Hopefully, this is the last year I have to bring them. And then the last thing about Mantic, the Brush of Death. This is my first time I'm going to enter Brush of the Death.
Nice.
I'm bringing up my Salamander army, and I'm not having to use all the models. So I'm probably going to enter, probably a unit and then maybe like a monster. So
Nice.
I'm excited about that. So what are you looking forward to with Mantic? Anything that I didn't mention that
Yeah, so I'm trying to finish my Mikhail. I may bring a model, so I may bring something from my Twilight Kin army, that I wasn't able to finish, but she'll bring a piece, show it off. Maybe some of my skiffs that I have, based cool. But yeah, I'm curious to see that. I'm loving to. I may flush out some depending on what they have. Maybe pick up something for firefight, to see. Uh, for that. Curious to see if they have anything around Epic Warpath, the models to show off, or I don't know if they'll have anything around that there, but I'm curious to see. And just in general, it's going to be nice to see all those guys, right? To see Andy, to see Kyle, to see Ronnie, the whole team. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, yeah. So next up on the list is Elric's Hobbies. They're at Adepticon every year, but they were at the Michigan GT this past year, and I really got a chance because it's Michigan GT is a smaller event, so I had the chance to really dive in and talk to the guys there and really get to see what they have. They got some really cool resin bits for basing and stuff, really cool stuff. The more exciting bit though, the more exciting piece though, Jeremy, I don't know what happened, but they had a bunch of secret weapons inventory on consignment from Mr. Justin. So like they had
nice.
tablescapes, they had reach over here. I don't know if this will show up on camera, but they had a bunch of their terrain that was designed to go with tablescapes. So they had a bunch of the paints and the washes and stuff. So I'd be curious to see if he has sold through it all or if he still has some. But it was really neat because I realized tablescapes, for those who don't know, tablescapes is a plastic modular board with 1 foot tiles. And the reality is it's really not good for Kings of War, right? Any of those plastic tables with built-in hills and stuff and terrain, you're really not.
Yeah.
But Vanguard, Dead Zone,
Firefight.
They actually made it firefight stuff where you're skirmish, where you can move individual models, where it's easier to move through stuff like that. Chef's kiss. So hopefully.
I was so sad when he went out of business. He's in my neck of the woods. So when I would do my secret weapon orders, I just go to his warehouse, and he, was super nice guy. And I know a lot of people love those washes. A lot of people really love his pigment. He had a really good pigment range as well too. So I'm curious to see what he's got of old secret weapon stuff.
Let's see if I can make this bigger too. Anyways, there we go. Give me some more room here. So that's Elric's Hobbies. This is gonna sound crazy, Jeremy, but I was thinking the other day, I'm gonna have to commission some armies at some point because I'm old. I'm never gonna get through all these armies.
Yeah,
I'm just too slow.
I hear.
I started to look into it, and it's time to get back with my friend. It's really time to catch up with Brandon. It's been a while since I've talked to him. Many Adepticons past, we had bunked together in a room. So I pretty good. Back in the day when we were all playing Warhammer, he was part of our. He sort of ran the same circles. Haven't talked to him in a while, but for those that haven't seen Grey Matter Musings, his stuff is out of control. It's really cool. And one of my things about if I'm gonna pay a commission painter, they got to be good, right? Like,
so you're of the mind, if you're gonna do it right and fork over the dough and get someone who can really do a good job.
Yeah, and somebody that I know their quality. I mean, I don't know if he has pictures on his website, but some of his Warhammer armies were some of the best inspirations. Oh, this is it right here. This Empire army was this is actually maybe Chaos, but he took like a chair and he
that's crazy.
Built a mountain, right? And he had it at Adepticon, but there's also a boat that's getting eaten by a kraken. Let's see if he's got that somewhere. Maybe I passed it. Let's see.
Yeah, I thought I saw it there.
And this is it right here. But I clicked that.
I think it was there. In the scroll down a little bit. Oh, is that still all the hill?
That's still the same village,
Oh,
yeah.
still all the same village.
But
Okay.
wait, maybe it's down. Wait, maybe I didn't go. Look at this 40K army. I mean,
Ah, yeah,
yeah,
dude,
it's
that's
probably down
crazy.
here. It's probably down here. Okay, this is it. This diorama was so like just to give you a sense of scale. This is a Marienburg Laren ship, right on the
Wow.
boat.
And it's like it's built out of like a chest, like a
Correct. It's a
shipping.
boat getting attacked by
Oh
a kraken,
man.
and all the
See,
units come out. It's
this is
ridiculous.
this is why we do the hobby for shit like this,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
This
yeah.
is amazing.
So this is what Brandon's known for, and so
Okay.
I need to have some conversations,
Yeah.
and not just him. There's other guys there too that I need to that I know about that I need to check in.
Mhm.
So
Wow,
all
just
right, let's
beautiful.
jump to Monument Hobbies because that's another one that we wanted to check out. For me,
Yeah.
if you haven't seen their dropper tip, it's like an Elmer glue bottle. So the one where you turn and then the plug. So you can't clog it. It's impossible to clog their tip because while it's wet, there's a plug that goes up into it as part of the. Does that make sense? What I'm saying, Jeremy?
Yeah. Mhm.
So I'm really excited about that, and they now I know you were talking about maybe getting their backpack, right?
Yeah, I mean, I thought about it. I looked at it last year. It's really cool. I would love to be able to, if I'm going to a friend's house or to work or whatever. And I've been starting to paint. Rob, the Loose Caboose has a Wednesday night miniature tabletop night that is also a hangout and paint night. So I went and painted there last night. I'm just trying to get more connected with my local scene. So I would love to have, and it was a real pain in the tuchus to bring to bring my stuff down the paint. So yeah, I've been thinking of the Go Bag Evo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so they're the Evo. That's the bigger one,
The
right?
Evo.
That's the one you're talking about.
I'm of the mind that if you're gonna buy something like this, buy
Uh huh.
the best one.
I mean,
Don't
I
go
would.
halfway.
I was in a class last year, and I sat down and someone brought this out, and it was. I was like, well, okay. Like it
Well,
literally
okay.
had it had a wet palette in it. It had a
Yeah.
cutting mat. He had a light that he pulled out.
Yeah.
Like literally, like you could use this at home. And if you have
As
to
a
go
paint
somewhere,
station. Yeah.
and you just zip it up and take it. It's a
Yeah.
backpack.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna take a look at that. They have some accessories for it. Like you see that thing on the left is a paintbrush caddy that can either go with it. Yeah, that right there. That they sell separately, but also as part of their system. They got to make the system.
Yeah, I
Uh,
will say I've dabbled. So I bought a few of their paints. I've been using them. I like them, but I used their dry brushes, and they're okay. I
they're
don't
okay.
know. Yeah, I was like, they're better than the Army Painter ones because the Army Painter ones are crap. They come
Mhm.
apart. Like,
Yeah.
and
Even the Army Painter Masterclass dry
they're
brushes,
junk.
which is get a $3 makeup brush. Is gonna last you better than
Exactly.
those pieces of
Right.
crap.
Yeah.
I
No,
agree with
I
you. I've
heard good
had
things of the
horrible
Artist Opus
experiences with
ones. We're
those.
gonna talk about there at the end, right?
Yeah.
The
Mhm.
Artist Opus makes a nice set of dry brushes. So I am not a master of dry brushing by any stretch.
Yeah.
So it's something that I can learn over. But yeah, I'm excited to check this out again. I just part of me is like, man, I literally have 400 Reaper paints. Like I have the full range. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, so part of me is like, do I want to invest in a new paint range? Well, honestly, the clog tip thing has become a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, man, I'm so over that. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Well, let's keep moving. Next up, we wanted to mention Mat by Mars. They make various size mats, but the thing I want to call out for Kings of War players is you can have it with the Kings of War grid. Now, these are vinyl mats. I do have the Dead Zone mat, which is whatever 2x2, and it's got the 2-inch square grid on it. But what's amazing about this one, do they have one that shows it? I don't know if they have one that shows the Kings of War layout. Maybe they do. Let's see, does it change? No, it doesn't look like it changed in the picture. But they have. I had it just a minute ago. Yeah, so they have Kings of War grid. I guess that's it. That seems weird, but okay. This might be new, actually, Jeremy. If you look, it's got the dominate circle, and then it's actually, if you look at it, it looks pretty busy, but it's got the
Yes.
6 boxes for control. It has hold the line now. Maybe it doesn't have hold the line. I can't tell.
It's hard to tell from this picture what those are
Yeah,
all
it is hard to
meant to
tell.
be.
But my point is, if you see one of these in person, they've got the lines for deployment. They show you where the center line is. Here's the circle. Here's the squares. It makes setting up terrain super easy if you're using
Yeah.
the Drunken Dwarf maps, because it's all like you know visually where it needs to go based on, because they also have grids on theirs, right? So yeah, it's super cool. So if you haven't checked it, I am a big fan of the neoprene mats, and they don't do neoprene. They do I think mostly because most of their stuff is custom. You could see
Yeah.
all the different mats, you know, all the different patterns you can have put on it, you know. Yeah. So all right. Next up, Wormforge. And you're probably going, Wormforge? Who are these guys?
Yeah, I'm not
Well,
familiar with them.
well, they bought a lot of Kawai's ranges. So a lot of the stuff
Oh,
that
okay.
Westphalia used to have, they now make.
Uh-huh.
Most of it is the 3D printed stuff, and I'm not into big fat round halflings, but
Uh-huh.
they also have some really cool not Star Wars fantasy miniatures, right? So I'd be interested to check out what Wormforge does have there, because they
Mhm.
do a lot of 3D printed stuff, but they do, at least in the past, has made resin versions of stuff. So I'm
Okay.
excited to to catch some of that as well. Um,
Mhm. Scroll down a little
so
bit.
yeah, I can. I'm just on the page with the 3D printed
Okay.
halflings. So this is not
Gotcha.
like the army that I have. This is done
No.
by a different sculptor, and this
That's
is,
not Kawe, right? That doesn't look like
well, it
are they
was Kawe. It
okay.
was. So Kawe had a different. So Kawe started with I think his name is Michael Anderson. He
Okay.
started the range. It was traditionally sculpted. They made resin models. He brought Paul Hicks in, who
Okay.
was
But
for those that
yours
know
are not
Paul.
this sculptor because yours are a little
No,
different than
no.
these. Yeah,
This
that's what
this
I was
this
trying to
came
say.
in at the end, where if you remember one gold piece, which was Kawe's Patreon for
Yeah.
monthly 3D printed. This same sculptor has expanded that.
Got it.
So yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of cool stuff. Like a lot of these people have seen, like they have the Tomb Raider and the Indiana Jones, and so
Oh, they have the
yeah,
Conan. Oh, dude, if I ever play Halflings at Riddle of Steel, I gotta
for
buy
sure.
that. I gotta buy
Yeah,
that Conan Halfling.
yeah. Now I think, is this? Let's see, is it $5? That must be a 3D printed model. I think it doesn't say.
Okay, well, I gotta remember
But no,
this.
I think it is 3D printed. I think these are mostly, because I think most of these were made for the Patreon. So,
Yeah, that's
but anyways,
awesome.
I'm excited to see what they've got. And then let's not forget our very good friends, very bestest friends, maybe, and bestest
Yes,
friends
the
is
Rosbombs.
Winged Hussar.
Yeah.
Now, if you haven't been listening, the Winged Hussar pubcast, great show. I'm a big fan. Make sure
Oh,
you're
yeah, it's
listening
good.
to that.
Go listen to it for sure.
Yeah, and so I'm really happy to catch up with Brandon again. I haven't chatted with him in a bit, so I'm excited about that. And then this one is a passion of mine. Jeremy, I'm tired of dice that just feel like they're just all over the place.
Okay.
And I've really moved to square dice, right?
Oh,
But
oh,
I'm not casino dice yet. I'm not that
okay.
hardcore. So what I've been using is these ones from Baron of Dice. I just got them. I'm only using them at one event,
Yes.
but
Uh-huh.
square edged. And so Baron of Dice will be there in full force, and they make every
Tons and
conceivable
tons and
thing you
tons of
want.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I'm excited about
I
that.
have the
So
dice that they make for MCP that are tailored to your affiliation. So I have the X-Men dice. So it's the dice you use in the game, but they're blue and gold, like the X-Men colors, and
right.
they're really super high quality dice.
Are you excited about X-Men '97 coming out on Disney
Oh yeah,
Plus?
the 20th I think is when it comes
Yeah,
out. The continuation of yeah, uh-huh.
yeah.
I can't
But
wait,
what was
man.
weird, I don't know if you've been watching the news. They just fired the showrunner before the show even came out.
Yeah, who knows with today?
It's weird, right?
What does that even mean? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. All right, next up. This is controversial to me, because 5 years ago I was like, Battle Plume sucks.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
surprised to see
I
this up here.
yeah, so I used to be a table war guy,
I
but
know.
honestly, a little bit like Reaper, I'm just tired of having to buy a case and it's not ready out of the box. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like with Table War, I have to buy the case, and then I have
Uh-huh.
to cut steel to glue into the display
It
boards.
it is some work. You
Mount.
gotta put some work into getting that case
Yeah.
functional. Yeah.
So I actually sold one of my cases. I've sold some
Uh-huh.
before. I just
Yeah.
sold. I think my last big case is gone. I
Oh,
have two half size cases and one mini,
yeah.
and if they're fine, but I'm not investing. Magna Racks, dude, out of the box. Put it together. Bob's your uncle. It works.
And that is the
No,
system where it's battle foam on the outside and the inside is like metal rack space, so you can still get the magnetization.
no. Well,
Oh,
let
tell
me
me
back up.
what is the
It
Magna
is
rack?
it is Magna Racks in the sense that it's plastic, like a plastic girder system with trays
Okay.
that slide out to have like I don't know if it's some kind of metal that's
Okay.
impregnated on the board. So your magnets will stick to the surface of the trays. Let me
Okay.
see if I can. Let me just go and show you what it's like.
Okay.
Magna Racks. And you want the sliders. So they have ones that don't pull out. It's just
Uh-huh.
racks, right? But if you get
Okay.
the sliders, the trays actually let me just grab one of these.
Oh, okay, so
Wow.
that's what's on the inside of the pack are those
Correct.
trays.
So you look, this is what's in
Oh,
the
okay.
inside. And so the top tray is doesn't slide. It's just a platform because it's
Yeah.
touching the top of the bag, right? But
Yeah.
all of these pull out, right?
Uh-huh.
So I'm a huge fan of this.
Okay,
And I've
cool.
got now I'm up to 3 of the big bags
Uh-huh.
and I don't know, 3 or 4 of the medium-sized bags and a couple of the small bags. Here's the thing, my store carries them. They give me a
Mhm.
good price,
Yeah.
and I just put it together. And I
Mhm.
mean, okay, Table War, the advantage of Table War, for those who don't know, is it's built in 1-inch increments. So you don't have to set anything up. You just put the tray in the slot where you want it to go, right? This
Yeah.
one, you have to give it some thought because there's like you got to put the risers in at the right height. So, like I think the medium sized bag, the 720, I think it holds around 12 inches of real estate. So you got to figure out, okay, this is a 5-inch riser, this is a 3-inch riser, a 2-inch riser, and then you got a ½ inch for each shelf. That's 12 inches. Okay. So does that
Mhm.
make sense what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
that's the way it's set up. So if you want to change it, you got to take everything out of the bag and you got
Mhm.
to change out the risers,
So if you have
which isn't
something
that.
strangely shaped or something, you might have to
Well, I'll tell
think
you, the
about it.
problem is like look, I love the Phoenix model that Mantic makes,
Oh,
but damn it,
it's big though,
why
right?
is it
Yeah.
gotta be 7 inches tall?
Yeah.
Literally had to make they don't even make a 7-inch riser. I had to take a 5 and a 2 and put them together. And because I have that, it's kind of ruined it's wasting a lot of extra space. Now, I
Mhm.
leaned into it and made a bunch of other tall stuff, so I at least filled up the space. But like if you have a giant, in putting it, it'd be very difficult to carry a giant in
Yeah.
this bag, a Mantic giant, right? The big
Mhm.
Mantic giant.
Just so
But
tall.
dwarves, ratkin,
Yes.
goblin,
The more compact
ogres,
armies, this is
yeah,
probably
you just
perfect
like
for.
boom, you just make sure you
Yeah.
put everything of the same height on a tray. And I
Yeah.
use like little magnets to drop in and kind of hold things. And you guys, if you're coming to Adepticon, I'm happy to show you. I'm going to have the big bag with salamanders, and then I have a little bag that's going to have one shelf with the ogre army that Christian is playing in Adepticlash, and then my fleet is on the top shelf. So
Okay, yeah, I'd actually like that. I've never seen one of these in person, really messed around with one. So
yeah. So I'm excited. I'm excited about that.
cool.
Let's see. Well, we don't have very many left. I've got Impact Miniatures. They make Blood Bowl teams. They make pop culture miniatures.
Mhm.
Yeah. Agreed, Dev. Agreed. I used to be like, oh, they suck. They're overcosted. Not really. By the time I spend the money for Table War, I spent $200 on a Table War case, and by the time I either buy the metal and cut the stupid sheet myself and epoxy it in, or have Shogun Miniatures make the insert, like I'm just at a point now. I just want stuff to work out of the
Yeah.
box. I don't want to have to engineer everything myself. So, and to be fair, one thing that soured me on Table War is the big case is not very deep. So if you look, well, the battle foam case is not going to roll over. It's wide.
Yeah.
Table War case, I had a full dwarf army that went and
Yeah.
like destroyed the army. And all right, lesson learned. I have to seatbelt the damn thing in because
Mhm.
I had it wherever in the trunk or something. But lesson
Yeah.
learned. It's on me.
Yeah.
But so Impact Miniatures, they got cool things like they have a lot of chibi models and stuff. And then
Sure.
finally, this is the company you wanted to mention, which is Artis Opus.
Yeah, I know a lot of people. I like Artist Opus. I know different people have had different requirements or interactions with brushes. Their relationship with brushes. The Series 7 used to always be the benchmark. That has had quality issues. The 8404 is really good. I found the 8404 2 is probably my favorite brush of all time. I
I will
don't like.
say, Yeah, I've been using it, but I will say it dies faster than when the Winsor Newton was the king.
Yes.
Like their brushes would last me 2 years. I ran one hard and it lasted about 6 months. Now, to be
Yes.
fair, it was like $20 rather than $30. So like
Yeah.
significant discount over.
Yeah.
So
They won't last
I
quite as
am
long. And I'm not as big a fan on the 8404's detail brushes, but the Series M of the Artist Opus, which is for those who know who remember the Series 7, there was the regular Series 7 and then the Series 7
miniature.
miniature. And the
Wait,
idea was not the tip, but was the bristle length was smaller.
yeah, yeah. Do you like Series 7 M brushes?
I like them, okay, but the difference in the Series S and Series M of Artist Opus is bigger than the difference between the Series 7, the Winsor Newton
Okay.
regular and
I
the
couldn't
Series
use
S.
the series. I couldn't use the Winsor Newton miniature brushes. They
Uh,
were the
to
belly wasn't
to
there.
okay. Well, this to me feels more like the regular Winsor Newtons and Artist Opus Series S. The bristles are way too long. So to me, this is more akin to the somewhere in between the Windsor 7 miniature and Windsor 7 regular, but skewing
Okay.
towards the Windsor 7 regular. But I
Okay.
like this brush.
Well,
I like this
I'm
brush
excited to
kit.
see it. I'm so I've always been a Winsor Newton Series 7 person.
Yeah.
Fine. We talked about the quality issues they've been having. And I tried a bunch of other paintbrushes. I kind of landed on the 8404s, Visible Riley, yourself. A bunch of people
Yeah.
said these are great brushes. So I started that, but I am still open. And the next one I want to try is Rosemary and Company,
Yes.
who has been a sponsor of a few of my tournaments. They make good brushes as well. So I'm probably going to give them a shot. Um, but in the interim, I just bought a bunch of, Jackson Art Supply, I think, is where I've been buying the
Yeah.
8404s. They're
Yes.
coming from the UK, and
UK.
I spent like $60, and I got, I don't know, 3 or 4 brushes, which may sound like a lot.
Yeah.
But the reality is, this brush with everyday usage is going to last me 6 months.
And what I'm finding, Rob, brushes like paint, maybe you don't like the whole brush line, but like the 8404 number 2, my love that brush. So maybe for my detail, I like an Artist Opus triple lot. They're for your eyeball, like really fine detail. That tip just never it is
Well, you
always
know what? So
razor
this is
sharp.
I've told people this before, and they don't believe me. And I could go over and grab it. My eye brush, my
Yeah.
eyeball brush,
Uh-huh.
is a Series 7 number 3.
Oh, and the
It
tip is
is
just so
it's
fine.
perfect. I don't use it for anything else. It is
Yeah,
the perfect tip. It has a huge belly,
nice. Uh-huh.
and I just boop boop done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I if I ever inadvertently use it for like base coating,
Yeah.
oh my god, what am I doing? I'm gonna ruin the tip, right?
But I want to explore some brushes. That's one of my main things for this Adepticon is I'm
Yeah.
about out on brushes, so I haven't ordered anything in the last couple months, knowing that I need new brushes, basically, is
Well, I
where I'm
bought a
at.
new set of 8404s because I have all these paint classes, and I
Yeah.
want to go with some. I don't want like I'm gonna
Go
go
with
with a
good brushes. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with a clean game envy palette and a new set of
Oh, everything
8404s.
fresh. Break
We're
that
gonna
new
be
car
rocking and rolling,
smell.
baby.
Yeah, I
I'm
love
gonna
it.
have
I love it.
fresh sheet every day, maybe a new sponge every
Oh,
day.
yeah, do
Oh,
it. Do it.
yeah,
Do
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Do it to it.
yeah. Well, that's kind of what we wanted to talk about. Let me look at the notes. I
Yeah.
think we cover everything.
Just a good
So
primer of what to look out for at Acon.
yeah, we're right at an hour, so that's not too
Yeah.
bad. Kind of wrap it up. What do I'm excited to see you, man. It's been a while.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
excited. I'm excited to get some game time. Work has been crazy. My main job, and then I also have a side job now. So it's been great. Don't get me wrong. Everything's going fantastic, but I need like some bro time. Put some cheese on that bitch. Bro time, Taco Bell drive through, whatever you want to say.
load that bitch up.
You load that bitch up. I'm
If you don't
ready.
know the reference, go back to at some
Yeah.
point we'll
And
probably bring it up in some of our difficult chat.
Jeff is coming this year, and when he came with us that one year, Rob, we had such a good time,
Had
the
a great
3 of
time.
us. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to he's gonna be playing in MCP during the week, but he'll be playing in Clash over the weekend.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I can't. I'm on countdown now. Wednesday morning early, I'll be on that plane, ready to go.
Yeah, it's funny, man. Like you, work's been crazy busy, right? Like,
Yeah.
we're doing like a regulatory project, so like dealing with they're not governmental agencies, but they work in they're the agent of the government, right, in Europe, and it's starting to wind down. So it's been crazy busy. But man, I got some great news. So our buddy Trent Sorsby is going to be coming back to the U.S. He's moving to
Oh,
Georgia. It's
nice.
not terribly far for me, so I'm like
Awesome.
super pumped about that. Chase, I got to catch up with my favorite Mississippi, Southern Mississippi. I don't know, but Chase just came up for Blue Sea Brawl, and that was exciting. So and locally we got a shot in the arm, man. We got a lot of new players that are coming out of the woodwork now to play. And one of the things that's really passionate about it is like, hey, let's do a slow grow, let's really play. And one of the things that I've been enjoying is Andy Patton, who's been on the show a number of times. He's a competitive guy, and
Yeah.
I have been liking being able to, okay, this time I'm just going to play the new guy. I'm going to show him the ropes, and I'm not there to win, right? Like I'm there to teach people.
Mm-hmm.
But then I do get to scratch the competitive itch. Like, okay, Andy, when I'm playing Andy, it's like, no, I and so I finally beat the Twilight Kin. It took me like 9 times.
See,
Yeah.
It's not impossible. You just got to figure
Well, it
it
isn't
out.
impossible. All he's got to do is not take the broke stuff. So all he had was he had a bunch of impalers, and he had the mutants, and so I got lucky finally.
That's funny.
Well, awesome, brother. I'm excited.
Cool. Yeah,
we're just
can't
a
wait to
few
see you,
days
man.
away.
Just around the corner. Yeah. Can't wait to see everyone there. Exactly. If you're going to Adepticon, come track us down. And yeah, it's gonna be.
And I did confirm, Pat, with Pat, the Kings of War will be in the same area as last year. So at some point Wednesday night, we'll probably kind of mark out the spot. We'll drop the table.
Get
We'll
the
start getting
studio
the mics set up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, pretty much what will happen is usually someone will be there most of the time, whether, maybe not during Adepticlash. That's kind of a low spot because usually everybody's playing Adepticlash. But other than that, like I'm not doing Firefight, you're not doing Armada. That was intentional so that we had an opportunity to have different people
recording.
Yeah. So, and you know what? Look, if you get 5 of your friends and you want to walk over and start recording, I will set you up and I will walk away. I did that last year with Corey Reynolds and company, right? I was like, all right, you guys are in good hands. Because actually, those are the best episodes to edit. Because I don't know what they're talking about. Like, it's all
so you're listening like fresh.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that's good. I like that.
That's interesting. That's funny.
Yeah. So, well, awesome, brother. You want to sign us out?
Yeah. Thanks everyone for watching, and to remember, until next time, keep counter charging.
See you guys soon.